difference a day makes. I think tonight I'm going to say what a difference 2 years makes. Because on November 7th, 2010, I didn't sleep. We had lost the House, we had lost the Senate, and we had lost the Blaine House. I didn't go to bed. I don't like to lose. But more importantly, I was very anxious on what this was going to mean for the state and its people. The first course that I and many others took from day one was to put together a team, a fabulous team, to win back the Maine State Senate and to rebuild our party. We knew we had a ton of work ahead of us, but before we went ahead, we had to look behind and look at some of the things that we weren't doing right, some of the things we had to change, and some of the things that we, as a party, needed to do differently and better. And I'm proud we did that. This couldn't have been done with a lot of key people. First and foremost, I saw you so bad. First and foremost, our leader of the Senate, Barry Hobbins. As Barry said, coming into the minority was very new to many people. Our caucus was just a little fractured, just a little. But Barry took control with calmness, pragmatism, and steered our caucus to the point where I don't think anyone could have got through the 15 members that ended the 125th. Barry has become a friend and a true ally, and I'm so glad that he's only going to be a couple hundred yards apart in the House. So Barry, thank you again. I'm also very grateful to Senator Phil Bartlett. As many of you have heard, Phil was termed out. He could have just chosen to ride it out, not do much during the legislative session, and move on. But that's not Phil Bartlett we all know. Phil had a huge role in the legislative session, and then continued on fundraising, helping candidates, doing anything that was asked of him, and by the way, also ran and successfully became the DNC man for the party. I am so glad that Phil will be a big part of our family moving ahead, and I consider him a mentor. So thank you, Phil, once again. I also need to recognize Chuck Quintero.
All right, Chuck.
Yeah.
Chuck was Barry's great hire. He said, you know what, we're not going to change this without having someone take control of this ship, build a team, look at what had worked all these years, but also make some incredible tweaks. Chuck's first hires, Mark and Amy, couldn't have been any better. They were critical to the mission that we were on, and it was just amazing to get to know them and see their work every day. Then, to even create a better team, he went out and hired Chase, Max, Izzy, Tom, to create a field staff that I would put up anywhere in this country. Anywhere in this country. These four incredible organizers got our senators, got our candidates running for office, some for the first time, doing things that they didn't even think was possible. And I just heard tonight that Senator-elect Tuttle lost how many pounds on this campaign?
20 pounds, I'm down to 171.
There we go.
None more to go for my old wrestling weight.
But I just can't thank them enough. They were the heart and soul of our campaigns, and not one candidate could tell them no, because they knew the wrath that was going to happen if they said no to this entire team. I also need to just give so much credit to my fellow leadership table, Seth Goodall, Troy Jackson, and Don Hill. From day one, the four of us came together. We put our egos aside. We had a common purpose. We brought our assets to the table. We had robust conversations about how we were going to raise money and what districts we were going to play in. And all those conversations turned into gold. I mean, it was really, really amazing. We, as a group, under no kind of belief that anyone in Maine thought the Senate was going to turn, we said we could do it. We said we weren't going to let any distractions disrupt us. And we were going to put together the greatest campaign the state has ever seen. And we did it. And I can't thank my leadership team enough. It was just a pleasure to work with a group of people so tightly, so firmly, and people who have so much heart, not only for what they're doing in their districts, but for every single one of you. So thank you to all of us. Look, it's no secret the last 2 years have been pretty challenging. There are many people still out of work. There are many people still struggling across our state. But for 2 years, we gave them all hope in the minority. And now, as members of the majority party, we have the same job. And that job is to get people to work. It's to give people hope. It's to give people aspirations that they can do something in their communities to make it stronger. And I know we have the right message. And I know we have the right people in the room to make that happen. Because I will tell you this, there is going to be a very clear choice on what we do as a Senate caucus around jobs, the economy, and jobs and the economy. Because for whatever reason, there is some myth that Democrats aren't friends to business. There's some myth that we don't understand jobs. There's some myth that we don't understand the economy. And I will tell you this, when I look around this room, that is not true. And over the next 2 years, I pledge to always have every single one of your backs. This caucus is going to be a tight caucus, a caucus that we all can come together and share our aspirations, share our fears, and share what we want best out of Maine. When I was the assistant leader, I thought there were some things that I did that I hope to continue and will continue. Building relationships with every single one of you. There's no way that we can go out into the Senate chamber if we don't know, and if I don't know, what's going on with you, what's going on with your families, what's going on in your communities. So over the next 2 years, I pledge to go to every single one of your communities and spend a day with you. Because if I can't walk in your shoes, in your district, then I won't be a great Senate president. And I'm going to make the same offer to Republicans. Because I tell you this, Mainers don't care if there's a D or an R. They care about getting things done. And I want to represent the entire Senate. And I'm going to spend some time with you in district. So make sure there's home-cooked food. Don't give me I I need, just don't give me anything that I might like, I might take.
I'll give you a chainsaw.
I look forward to doing that. I also look forward to what Senator Jackson said, which I think is a hallmark of who I am, listening. This will probably be the longest I speak for a while, and I appreciate patience. But I will listen and learn from all of you, and I look forward to that. I look forward to being the coach, or like the coach, to bolster every single person up. I want to make sure that you all shine. We are 19 now. When we go back out for re-elections, it's going to be 19 plus. And the only way we're going to do that is by allowing every single one of you to shine and to be the greatest senators that you can be. And I will be there to prop you up, sometimes bring you aside and say, you know what, that's maybe not what I would do. You can continue on, but I will be honest, open, and transparent every step of the way. So, I've spoke about this a little bit, but I do believe that Maine can be a place, and will be a place, where we economically prosper again. And I believe we can do that by still pursuing our values. To quote President Obama, which we stole a little bit if we went to the caucus, you know, we have your back, and Democrats truly do. I grew up in a family that made things. Every day in Dexterville, Dover's close.
Yeah.
Dexter, Dover, that's okay. Yeah. We made, you know, my family made things. And my grandfather loved this state, and I love this state. And I truly believe that this state can keep making things, and needs to keep making things. And I believe that we can help, or get out of the way when necessary, to ensure that our economy continues this slow climb to recovery. But when you think about what my grandfather did, and hopefully what I'm doing at a little project down in Portland at a bowling alley, it starts with two simple things. One, treating every single person in your team as family. And two, making investments continually in what you're doing. Dexter Shoe should have ended way before it did, but it kept investing in R&D, technology to keep it competitive. And it stayed in Maine well beyond all of its competitors because of those two traits. And I believe that Maine's economy needs a lot more of that. Treating workers with respect and making sure that we're making the necessary investments for the future. We have a lot to do over these 2 years. This work is just beginning. I want you all to know that I've already made my first phone call, and I will continue making phone calls to meet with Governor LePage. I want to work with Governor LePage. I will work with Governor LePage, and we will find common ground on many things to do together. And when we don't, Democrats will offer a clear choice on why we're differing from Governor LePage. And I believe we'll have Republican colleagues joining us because our policies are common sense, they're sound, they're based on the middle class, and they're based on working families. And so, I thank you all for this honor. I am not going to let you down. I am not going to let this party down. And I look forward to rolling up my sleeves, watching you all get to work, and for this 126th legislature to be one of the most productive legislatures the state's ever seen. Thank you.